This 13th floor video session is powered by The Rock Shop. Hi, welcome to the 13th floor. I'm Marty Duda. Today we have the return of Lawrence Arabia. How's it going?
It's good.
You staying warm?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, it's chilly, man.
Yeah. It's good to complain about the weather sometimes.
This is perfect. It always seems like it's colder indoors and outdoors at this time of year. You go outside and the sun's nice and warm, and then you come inside and it's not so.
Yeah, it's a curious effect.
Yeah. But anyway, you have a new album out.
I
Congratulations.
do. Thanks, finally.
Finally, the last one was in 2012, Sparrow. So, of course, the first and obvious question is, what took so long and what have you been doing?
I've been having a child.
That'll keep you busy.
Yeah.
I got a couple of those myself.
Yeah.
They're growing up, but it doesn't make any difference.
In the last 4 years, I've discovered that it's time consuming.
Yeah.
It was probably around about the time that the Sparrow came out that we discovered that we were going to have a baby. And so I've got a 3.5-year-old now. So, and an album.
3.5 is a fun time.
Yeah.
To keep you entertained.
Yeah, it's very entertaining. But it's definitely not conducive to releasing albums in a timely fashion.
I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Keep you from doing that. And is he or she a music fan?
She's a music fan. She really she likes my music.
Excellent.
And she's been indoctrinated. She's yet to discover bad music. Sorry, that's a little bit subjective. She really loves David Bowie.
Oh well, that's a good start.
And the Beatles.
Beatles are always good for the kids.
And she likes Jonathan Richman as well.
My first daughter, we took her to a Jonathan Richman show when she was 6 months old. We got her, and then it was all over. They love the Ramones. Kids love the Ramones.
Right, I'll have to try that.
Because it's like, we're a happy family, Beat on the Brat. They love all that stuff. So So your album isn't full of songs about having babies and domestic bliss and all that stuff, is it?
No, it's not. It's quite kind of, it's a happy record, but lyrically, it's not about having a child or anything. It's I don't know. I've been thinking. It sort of actually feels like a little bit of a memoir, in some odd way. It's sort of about the realistic side of romance. Yeah, I think. It's about some. Yeah, it's kind of. I'm sort of discovering what it's about the more I talk about it and the more I sing it. So.
Because the record's only been out for a few days, so.
Yeah.
And you're just about ready to go on the road.
Yeah, tomorrow we're going down south. Yeah. So it's all a new process. So it's just sort of discovering what the record's really about when you start singing it live and discovering what people think about it and what they read into it.
Do people often come up to you and tell you what they think your songs are about?
Yeah, I think people have some interpretations. I can't remember any off the top of my head. I guess I'm probably quite fixed in the way I perceive my own songs, but it's really nice. I can't think of any specific anecdotes about this, which is
that's quite all right.
Poor, but
it's probably been a while since you've been on the road.
It's been a while since I've had
with these.
It is, but it is lovely when people do come up and explain these non-specific moments of significance that the songs have to them. So
right. Well, you're going to play a few songs from the album, and we'll get into talking about the making of the thing in just a minute. But first, we'll talk about the first song that we're going to hear, which is "A Lake."
Yeah.
So, what do you got to say about that one?
It's a song. It's kind of about my relationship, or a relationship, but my relationship, and it's also just about nothing. I feel like I'm telling the story a lot, but I've picked up this book. It's of conceptual art, and there was a picture of someone throwing a stone into a pond, and it said below it's an attempt to form squares rather than circles around a stone that has been tossed into water, or something like that, and it just triggered the first lines of the song. So the lyrics of the song are just a sort of a free association, really. It's one of those things it's very abstract, and then you can start to impose your own reading on it.
Of course, the trick is to throw a square rock, right?
Yeah, I think that was the theory.
All right. Well, let's give it a listen, and then we'll come back and talk some more. Right.
A lake, still an ageless lake, a dark and depthless lake. You made a splash, it was concentric as you'd expected. A field, a yellow painted field, depicted in a dusty book. The mind was weak, the body willing, that fact was chilling. I never knew me, my dear, till I met you. I thought I was cool. It only took 7 years, and then we were truly in love. You led me dumb and blind through the obstacle course that I called my mind. And when I reached the end, the certificate, it was you. Doo-doo-doo. A fire, a red and raging fire, a six satanic pile. We danced around, victorious Vikings, invoking lightning. A force, an invisible force, the terrifying hordes. They don't believe that it is sinning when you are winning. I never knew me, my dear, till I met you. I thought I was cool. It only took 7 years, and then we were truly in love. You led me dumb and blind through the obstacle course that I called my mind. And when I reached the end, the certificate, it was you. Ooh, ooh.
Alrighty, we're back here with Lawrence Arabia, and we're going to talk something a bit about making of absolute truth. First, the title. That's a pretty profound statement to make on a record, and a lot of pressure to put on it. What's the deal there?
Well, it was a line from the song "O Heathcote," and the line is, "And moan about the youth, while our arbitrary opinions become absolute truth." And it's I suppose we could talk about that song, and theoretically that could become the intro to this.
Sure,
that song.
Let's do that.
It's just it's a song about as your opinions become more fixed and
Right.
you become more intolerant to different.
Do you think
opinions.
you get more intolerant as you get older, or more tolerant?
There's a danger of becoming more intolerant, I think, and it's just the song's kind of about fighting that urge, and also fighting the urge to become comfortable and bourgeois. It's about trying to maintain your idealism, and because I've always prided myself on trying to lead a non-materialistic bohemian lifestyle. But
It's easier when you're a musician, isn't it?
it is, but you're surrounded by enticements to comfort, and your friends are, buying houses, and everyone's just sort of moving into this quite mundane worldview, and it can cloud all of everything about the way you see the world, and so it's just about fighting those urges in myself.
And how is the fight going?
It's going all right. With the help of a few songs, it's going to be cathartic to write songs about these things.
Yeah, because I imagine when you have a child and the whole domestic thing happening, it changes your focus a little bit as to how you have to look at that stuff, because you're not just doing it for yourself anymore.
Yeah, and it can seem very indulgent to maintain a sort of bohemian lifestyle when you've got a child. But I also admire people who maintain that kind of lifestyle and have children and take them on take them on adventures and don't succumb to this sort of suburban lifestyle. So yeah. I figure
it's either in the city or in the country. It's the in between that doesn't really work so well.
Yeah, I just had another conversation about the exact same thing.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's listen to Heathcote. Is it pronounced?
Heathcote.
Heathcote.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
We'll listen to that, and then we'll come back, and then we'll find out about how you made the record.
Yeah. Great.
All right, great.
I can understand why people talk with reverence about the changing of the seasons, about the bluing of the light that brings such melancholy. I can understand why poets do mythologize about the browning of the land and the hardening on the back of your hand. We were conceived in the back of a car, brought up in a bar, educated by TV. I got my PhD. So now we crave all the comforts and accessories available, and complain about our backs and how it is impossible to relax. We walk the dog, and sadly we consider how everything's been ruined, and moan about the youth while our arbitrary opinions become absolute truth. We were controlled by an invisible hand, the fat of the land. softer than the sea. I shall kiss you on your knee. Hee 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 hee. Hee 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 hee. And in September I contemplate surrender. Just dwell upon my odor and pour another soda in spite of Palestine.
All right, we're back for one more little chat with Lawrence Arabia, just on the cusp of hitting the road, but we really haven't spoken yet about making Absolute Truth. You recorded it down in Wellington, with your buddy Mike.
Yeah, Mike Fab.
Yeah.
He used to be in the Black Seeds, and he had a studio in Gracefield, which is a heavy industrial suburb of Lower Hutt, underneath a plastics factory.
Yeah. Sounds inspiring.
It was an unusual place to record.
Right.
It was very quiet, and we couldn't record during the day because he wasn't allowed to make loud noise during the day. So
usually it's the reverse.
Yeah, and it's kind of odd because they were making a lot of noise, and really there was some nice melodic music coming up through their floorboards would have been a lot nicer than what they were doing to us.
Right.
But anyway, that's what happened, and we were working from late afternoon till the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah. Does it make any difference to you when you are recording?
Not really. It's quite. I mean, you can descend into a kind of madness late at night, which is sometimes conducive to the sort of inspiration that you might not get during the day. I think it's harder to banish thoughts of your everyday life when you're recording during the day. There's too much
going on.
Yeah,
phones ringing.
Yeah, there's just the sense of other people the sense of other people having needs and being awake, and things that you could possibly be doing.
Yeah.
That disappear when it goes past sort of 10, 11 o'clock at night. So yeah, in that regard, I mean, I really like that, and I've always been a bit of a night owl. So.
And sound-wise, the album sounds fairly ornate, and it's got lots of production happening with it. How would you say you approach the making of the songs? And are there other people playing on the record, or is it usually you play most of the instruments, right?
Yeah, there are a few people playing on it. I'm not a very good drummer, so I'm not playing drum. I'm playing drums on one song, but. Alistair Deverick, who's in my band, is playing drums on a lot of the songs, and Ricky Gooch is playing drums on a lake, and there's string players, and Toby Lang and Lucian Johnson are playing horns, and Mike is playing a few bits and pieces. But we kind of approached it like a solo record, really. And Mike was engineering and helping bounce ideas and produce, but we just sort of approached it like a solo record, which is just go for broke with the production, just whatever fits, stick it on and see how it goes. So it was fun because it was very different to the way I made the Sparrow, which was getting a band together and recording it all live and then only putting strings and horns on it. There was no other overdubs really, apart from a couple of bits and pieces. But this one I was just like, there's no rules really as far as I'm not going to apply any rules to the process. So just if a song needs something, we'll just put it in. And I like harmonies, so I've put lots of harmonies on it and things like that.
And so now, of course, you're taking those songs on the road, who's going to be with you, and how are they going to change? How do you adapt them to the live thing?
I mean, they can stretch out a lot more. I mean, the record's really concise. There's not a lot of fluff or indulgence on there, I don't think, and I think there'll be a bit more fluff and indulgence in the live show, which is, you know, enjoyable. But the band it's my normal band with Tom and Hayden and Alistair, and then Jonathan Pierce, the multi-instrumentalist, who's playing with everyone these days. We're fortunate enough to have him playing with us as well. He's going to play piano. So I think it's a pretty accurate rendering of the album to some degree, but with the scope to take the endings into a more exploratory psychedelic space, I suppose, and yeah, be a bit more explosive about it. Because the record, you know, if I had one criticism about the record, it's just that it's because it's recorded like a solo record, it doesn't have that, you know, it's uptight in a little way. You know,
doesn't have a dynamic between actually playing with somebody, I guess.
Yeah. If it's missing one thing, that's that. And I mean, I'm totally happy with it, and I love a lot of records that are made in that way. So it's not an essential.
Worked for Paul McCartney quite a bit.
Yeah, and it works for lots of people who I love. So I'm not bothered by that as a thing, but it is nice to be able to explore the recordings and let them change their shape a little bit in a live setting.
All right, so folks can see you out on the road.
Yeah.
You're going to be all over the place. There's lots of dates coming up, so
yeah,
hopefully folks will get out there. And we're going to leave with one more song, Brain Gym.
Brain Gym.
Anything you need to say about that before you go?
It's sort of like a self-help song.
Right.
I suppose it's another relationship song. And the title "Brain Gym" I think I had the germ of an idea in my head that it was going to be about. Actually, I don't really know. I don't think I had anything in my head. I just wrote Brain Gym. I just needed a title for the demo because when you start a new session on GarageBand, you need a title.
Right.
And it just sort of went from that title, and I was never able. It's always seemed a little bit of a silly title to me, but and there was never another title that jumped out. So Brain Gym is the title.
It is.
Yeah, for better or worse.
Excellent. Well, thank you for stopping by.
Thanks,
playing
Marty.
some songs and telling us all about it. It's great.
No
Good luck
problem.
on the road.
Thank you.
All righty.
When I was young and arrogant, you told me to shut my mouth and get on with it. Oh, oh, oh. I was so brash and foolish, bold and bullish, kinda toolish. Nights of posing, frozen, underdressed, obnoxious proclamations, our conversations, an ignorant mess. When I was poor and envious, you told me to eat my toast and contend with this. Oh, 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 oh. I was an eggy soldier, now I'm older, I've got shoulders. And perspiring, it must be tiring, I wouldn't know. Those kind of situations don't have the patience, I suppose.